Wally was 9 years old that year and in 2nd grade, though he should have been in 4th. Most people in town knew that he had difficulty keeping up. He was big and clumsy, slow in movement and slow in mind. Still, Wally was liked well by the other children in his class, all of whom were smaller than he, though the boys had trouble hiding their irritation when Wally would ask to play ball with them, or any other game for that matter, in which winning was the most important. Most often they would find a way to keep him out, but Wally would just hang around anyway, not sulking, just hoping. He was always a helpful boy, a willing and smiling one, and the natural protector, paradoxically, of the underdog. Sometimes, if the older boys chased the younger ones away, it would always be Wally who'd say, "Oh, can't they stay? They're no bother." Wally fancied the idea of being a shepherd with a flute in the Christmas pageant that year. But the play's director, Miss Lombard, assigned him to a much more important role. After all, she reasoned, the innkeeper did not have too many lines, and Wally's size would make his refusal of lodging to Joseph more forceful. And so it happened that the usual large audience gathered for the town's yearly extravaganza of creches, beards, crowns, halos, and a whole stage caught up in the magic. A whole stage of squeaky voices. No one, on stage or off, was more caught up in that magic than Wallace Purling. They said later that he stood in the wings and watched the performance with such fascination that from time to time, Miss Lombard had to make sure he didn't wander on stage before his cue. Then the time came when Joseph appeared, slowly, tenderly guiding Mary to the door of the inn. Joseph knocked hard on the wooden door set into the painted backdrop. Wally the innkeeper was there, waiting. "What do you want?" demanded Wally, swinging the door open with a brusque gesture. "We seek lodging." "Seek it elsewhere." Wally looked straight ahead, but he spoke vigorously. "The inn is filled." "Sir, we have asked everywhere in vain. We have traveled far and are very weary." "There is no room in the inn for you." Wally looked properly stern. "Please, good innkeeper, this is my wife, Mary. She is heavy with child and needs a place to rest. Surely you must have some small corner for her. She is so tired." Now, for the first time, the innkeeper relaxed his stiff stance and looked down at Mary. With that, there was one of those long pauses, long enough to make the audience tense with embarrassment. "No, be gone," the prompter whispered from the wings. "No," Wally repeated automatically, "be gone." Joseph placed his arm around Mary. Mary laid her head upon her husband's shoulder, and the two of them started to move away. The innkeeper did not return to his inn, however. Wally stood there in the doorway, watching the forlorn couple. His mouth was open, his brow creased with concern, his eyes filling unmistakably with tears. And suddenly, this Christmas pageant became different from all other Christmas pageants. Joseph, Wally called out, bring Mary back. And Wallace Perling's face grew into a bright smile. You can have my room. Christmas is about giving what we have and who we are. Because Christmas is God's giving what God has and who God is. Merry Christmas.